emphasize on that. That's why I'm thinking of going over that algebra again from more like teaching from scratch. Okay, so here we are going to answer these questions using the equation of the circle. Our equation of the circle is x minus a squared plus y minus b squared is equal to r squared. That's the equation of the circle with the center not at the origin. Okay? If the center is not at the origin, that's the equation. So let's start with the first one. 1a. So we need to determine the coordinates of the center and the length of the radius of each of the following. So here, our x, you see, you compare the general equation and this one here. If there's a minus here, well, there's a minus there, it means x is going to be equal to 4. Y is going to be equal to, there's a plus here, and there's a what? A minus. Are you following? I hope you're following. Let me emphasize that part. There is a minus here, but for this question here, there is a plus. What that means that y is negative. So y is going to be equal to minus 3. That's very important to know. As you can see, both of them have got a minus between them. Okay? That is, let me recalibrate. So our radius is equal to the square root of 25, which is the what? The 5. So that's straightforward. Right? Are you following? Then let's do B. Okay? Don't worry, I'm going to get there. So B, as you can see, we have got x squared, which means our a is going to be equal to what? To 0. You see that for B here, there is no x minus a all squared. You see that? It means it looks like the first equation where the center is at origin, the x part, which means x is going to be, not perfect here, I was supposed to write in terms of a and b. Sorry, let me correct that. I'm supposed to write here in terms of a and b. Please change that. Sorry for that. With our center, remember I say center, so here a is going to be 4 and b is going to be minus 3. So again here, please sorry for that. But you need to know that both a and b are x values. Right? So our a here is 0, b is going to be positive 2. The radius is going to be the square root of 10. Okay? Are you following what I'm doing? To find the radius, we just square the value which is on the right hand side of the equation. Alright? Now let's do the one where the equation is not straightforward to find the center and the radius. Like say that E. Let's start with E with a small, with a less complex one. So E, you have x squared minus 5x plus y squared plus 6y equal to 9. Alright? Now, this one now, it requires your knowledge of trinomials, that is perfect square trinomial, factorization, and completing the square. Okay? So, what I'm going to do is, I'll just refresh you a little bit with regard to perfect square trinomials. Remember, in grade 9 and 10, you did trinomials like this. X squared plus 2xy plus y squared. And when you factorize this, you get x plus y all squared. You also did another one, which was x squared minus 2xy plus y squared. When you factorize, you get x minus y all squared. Now those two expressions, what happened there? Alright. I don't know how it goes. Anyway, it's cannot. So when you factorize those two trinomials, they are called perfect square trinomials, you get two binomial factors that are the same. So we're going to use that concept to rewrite this equation to this form here. Okay? To do that, we use computing the square. So we need to create a trinomial here in terms of x, another trinomial there in terms of what? Of y. So to do that, all we have to do is look at the coefficient of x there. It's negative 5. What's half of negative 5? Negative 2.5. Or negative 5 over 2. So we are going to add the square of negative 5 over 2 on the left of this equation, and we also add the square of negative 5 over 2 on the right hand side of the equation. Okay? So this becomes minus 5x plus negative 5 over 2 all squared. Okay? Why we are adding this term here is we want to create a perfect square trinomial that we can factorize to that. Okay? Then for the y, we do the same. What's half of 6? 3. 3. So we are going to add the square of 3 on both sides. So it becomes y squared plus 6y plus 3 squared. This will be equal to 9 plus this minus 5 over 2. We square that plus 3 squared. Okay? Now, we are going to create here a perfect square trinomial. So it becomes x squared minus 5x plus 25 over 4. Plus, the y becomes y squared plus 6y plus 9. This is equal to. On the right, we are going to have 9 plus 25 over 4 plus 9. Now, to factorize the trinomials on the left is very easy, right? All you have to do is, since the coefficient of x squared here is a 1, you just have to take the half of the coefficient of x, which is minus 5 over 2, is going to be in the binomial. So we are going to have x minus 5 over 2 all squared plus, here, half of the coefficient of y is a 3, so we end up having y plus 3 all squared is equal to. Now we are on the right hand side. 9 plus 9 gives us 18, right? So we end up having 18 plus 25 over 4. What is 18 plus 25 over 4? You want the answer as a common fraction.
97 over 4.
Huh?
97 over 4.
97 over 4. Right? Now what does the question say? The question says determine the center, right, and the length of the radius. Okay? So once you get here now, you can easily determine the value of A, the value of what? Of B. Find the square root of that, then you get the radius. So I can write and say therefore, the center, here the coordinates, right? Well, here I didn't write the coordinates in coordinate form. I could have written it as here 0, 2. That one I could have written it as 4, 3. Okay, so I'm going to write it like that. So since there's a minus here, it means I'll write my x coordinate, which is going to be a, is 5 over 2. The y is going to be negative 3. And my r is going to be the square root of 97 over 4, which I can write as square root of 97 over 2. All right. Now, just to emphasize some very important things, I created this trinomial. I also created that trinomial so that I can be able to form the general equation of the equation of the circle, which is the center at the a center which is not at the origin. Any question? Are you sure? What I just did here, completing the square, is very important. Some of the questions that you are going to encounter if you practice a lot, you are going to realize that if you don't know how to complete the square, you won't be able to find the center of that circle. Alright? Let's do one more which is a little bit complex. Okay. Question, let's do question I. Okay? It's a little bit more complex because the coefficient there of x squared and y squared are not equal to 1. Okay? Alright, so it's 2x squared plus 2y squared. Two x squared plus 2y squared minus 6x minus 12y minus 6x plus 12y equal to 3. Right, let me check that. So there's a minus on the bottom. So that's a minus 2. So this is also a minus. Okay. So here, if you want to complete the square, you should know by now that you have to make the coefficient of x squared equal to 1, the coefficient of y squared equal to 1. Because I have to rearrange the terms. So I'm going to start by saying this is 2x. Okay. Fortunately, I'm sure you can see that we have got a common factor on the left hand side, which is a 2. So I can factor out that 2 and write it as 2x squared. And I'll bring this minus 6 here. But because I factored out 2, it becomes minus 3x. Then plus y squared minus 6y equal to 3. So I rearrange the terms, then I factorize at the same time. Is that clear? Then you divide both sides by 2. So we divide both sides by 2 to eliminate the 2 on the left hand side, so that I will end up getting x squared minus 3x plus y squared minus 6y equal to 3 over 2. Once you get here, it should become easy now. Find half of the coefficient of x here, half of the coefficient of y. Then you add on both sides that half of the coefficient of x and y. So if I do that, I'll get x squared minus 3x plus minus 3 over 2 squared plus y squared minus 6y plus minus 3 all squared is equal to 3 over 2 plus minus 3 over 2 squared plus minus 3 squared. Okay, just to emphasize here, this minus 3 over 2 squared is the same as that, and this minus 3 squared is the same as minus 3 whole squared. Okay, so I added half the coefficient of x on both sides. I also added half of the coefficient of y on both sides. So once I do that, I'll create my two trinomials. Now this becomes 9 over 4, and that one becomes y squared minus 6y plus 9 equal to 3 over 2 plus 9 over 4 plus 9. Right? Factorize this, you don't have to think. Your binomial is going to have half of the coefficient of x, which is 3 over 2 squared plus y minus 3 all squared. Okay, that's equal. Now if you simplify what's here, this is the same as, if I multiply it by 2, I'll get 6 here. That becomes 4 plus 36, so we get 36 plus 9, 25 plus 6, you get 51 over 4. Can you verify that for me? Can you verify that for me? Right? So once you get here, okay,
Yes.
Alright, so our center is going to be at, since there's a minus there, our center is going to be at the point where x is 3 over 2. So let me use a different color here to make it more colorful. Right, let me use that one. So our center is going to be at 3 over 2, then y is 3, and the radius is going to be equal to the square root of 51 over 4, which is the same as the square root of 51 over 2 units. Okay.